one-round mock draft following some recent news around Sam Darnold and all the craziness that's going on. We're 2 weeks, just around 2 weeks before the NFL draft, so I think it's a great time to give you another mock draft. I stream on Twitch, a bunch of football content there, but this is my first exclusive YouTube mock draft. Without any delay, let's get going to it.
Settle down just a little bit.
So we're going to whip through some of these picks quite quick. Not going to talk much about Trevor Lawrence. We already know he's a pick. Zach Wilson, too. We already know he's a pick. There's very little doubt they're not going to go off Zach Wilson right now. So the draft really starts at 3. Who are the 49ers going to take? I know a lot of talk has been about Mac Jones. That's been pretty consistent. I don't buy it. I think they're going Justin Fields. That's my personal opinion. Better overall athlete. I think he can do more of the zone runs, the reads, the running plays, mobility that Shanahan would like to run in his offense but can't. So I think he takes Justin Fields. The Falcons at 4. No one knows what they're going to do. Could they take quarterback? Could they take a playmaker? I don't currently see them taking a quarterback. I think there's a good chance they trade down. But because this mock draft is not including any trades, I think they stay where they are and they take the best weapon possible to give Matt Ryan a chance to make another Super Bowl. That means they're going Kyle Pitts. We have the Bengals at 5. Bengals could go 2 different major directions. Do they go wide receiver or do they go offensive tackle? I know a lot of people think that I'll go tackle because of what happened to Joe Burrow last year, but Jonah Williams hopefully will be healthier this year and improved. They signed Riley Reef on the right side. My mind, I think they're going to go weapon. They're going to connect Burrow with Chase, his old teammate, and replace A.J. Green. Next, we have the Dolphins at number 6. This is really interesting. I think they would love Kyle Pitts to fall to them, but in this scenario, he doesn't. They're sitting on the board, and they look at it as they have 2 wide receivers, Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith. Between those 2 players, I think Jalen Waddle is a wide receiver they'd like to get. I know there's a lot of connections between both players and Tua, but Jalen Waddle is the wide receiver who will get more separation, who will make it easier for Tua to get those, receiving yards after the catch. Thus, I think they're going to go with Jalen Waddle at number 6. Number 7, Detroit's sitting here. They see Trey Lance there. They could go quarterback. They see Mac Jones there, who's another option for them. I don't see them going quarterback. I think they are expected to probably have another high pick next year. And if they don't, that's because Goff had a good year, and that means they don't need a quarterback. So I think they're going to stay right here. I think ultimately they're going to take somebody who likes to break kneecaps. I don't actually know that, but seems like a pretty tough dude. I think they're going to take Michael Parsons, linebacker. At 8, we have the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers are sitting here, and the board is looking like this. Could they go quarterback? Sure. But Penei Sewell, the top offensive tackle, is sitting there, and I just don't see them passing that opportunity. They take the best tackle available. At number 9, we have the Denver Broncos. So assuming the Denver Broncos don't do anything else before the draft, they need a quarterback to push Drew Lock. I'm not really sure he's the future anyways. And if Trey Lance is sitting there at number 9, that is a godsend. So they're going to take him. Again, likely he probably doesn't fall that far. There's likely going to be a trade. Cowboys at 10, they're going corner. They're going to go defensive player. They need help. Could they go tackle, take a Rashawn Slater? I think there's a chance because their offensive line is getting pretty old. But I think defensively, they need help. And Jerry Jones is always in a win-now mode. And the player that would help the most is Patrick Surtain. Giants at 11, again, similar. They could go tackle. Rashawn Slater, is tempting for them. But I think they've invested a lot draft picks last year in the offensive line, and I'm not exactly sure they want to give up on any of those players yet. So I think they stay at this spot and they take Devonta Smith. Now the Eagles are sitting here. They didn't get the top cornerback. They didn't get any of the top wide receivers. I think with the way this board has fallen out, they're looking at J.C. Horn, thinking he's a good opportunity, a good player to take. They again need help in their secondary. Would they love Waddle, Devonta Smith, or Pitts to follow them? Absolutely, but they shouldn't have traded down to 12 if that was the case. So I think they take J.C. Horn. Number 13, Chargers here. We know they need offensive line help, and if Rashawn Slater slides to number 13, that is their best case scenario. Could that happen? It's possible. Probably not likely, but if he is there with the Chargers, they're taking him at number 13. No doubt about it. The Vikings at number 14, they need some inside line help. They need some safety help. They need some edges. Not glaring needs, but they do need some players all over the board. I think at this point they're going to go for edge. They're going to try to replace some players that they've lost in free agency, and I think they're going to take Kwity Paye. Probably the best edge player in the draft. Depends on what your flavor is. If you want more of a power guy or speed guy off the edge, but we're sticking with a fast mock draft. So this is old picks, little analysis. All right, 15. If Mac Jones is in there for the Patriots, I think they'd have a hard time passing him up. I think they would prefer to get Fields, of course. But if they're stuck here at 15, can't move up, and Mac Jones is sitting there, I think they take a shot on somebody that they can invest some time into and see if he's worthy of being a starter in this league. Cardinals at 16. Cardinals sitting here, again, variety of needs, but given where they're sitting, I think Elijah Vera Tucker, this is where I expect him to go. They do need some help on the interior offensive line, so I think this is the best spot for them to take him. The Raiders, we know the Raiders also need offensive line help because they lost 3 starters this year on their offensive line, players who are older, expensive, and they want to bring some young talent in there. So I think they definitely go for probably the second best tackle in this draft, in my opinion, which is Tevin Jenkins. Next, we come to the Dolphins at number 18. This is an interesting spot for the Dolphins. This is their second pick, so they could go a couple of different directions, right? They're a team that could take a risk on a player, again, this being their second first-round pick. And I think because of their needed edge and because of his high ceiling, I think they take Jalen Phillips. He has had some injury concerns. He did retire from football once before, but again, this is pick number 18. The Dolphins can take a risk, and they do so here. Number 19, we have the Washington football team. Christian Darrisaw, I don't think we expect him to last this long, but if he does, I could see I was going to say their old name. I could see the Washington football team taking Christian Darrisaw. Next, we come to the Chicago Bears. Where would the Chicago Bears go? Interesting, eh? They could go a variety of different directions. They would love if one of the quarterbacks fell to them, but they're likely going to have to trade up to make that happen. I think in this current spot, they're going to go and try to replace Kyle Fuller. They're going to try to strengthen their defense even more. I think they're going to go for Greg Newsome second. Next, we have the Indianapolis Colts at 21. They need some help on the defense, also on the offensive line with the retirement lately. But I think where they're sitting right now, it's kind of in no man's land, right? So I think that they're going to go for this is a tough spot. I could see them going edge here. They need to replace. I believe Houston was with him last year, and I don't think they've signed him yet. And he's visiting with the Ravens. I think that they will take Aziz. Number 22, we have the Titans. The Titans are sitting here. We know they need help in the secondary, and I think that's where they're going to take him. I think Caleb Farley is probably a good pick for them. He obviously does have injury concerns, but if those weren't there, normally he'd be a lot higher up on most teams' boards. So I think he goes right around that spot. Next, we have the Jets at 23, their second pick of the first round. Similar to the Dolphins, they're in this spot where this is their second first-round pick. They can take a bit of a risk. They do need help in the secondary, but I think they also need help at running back. Tevin Coleman, who's their starter right now, not sure he can stay healthy, and they want to make Zach Wilson's life a little bit easier, so they go for my top-rated running back, Najee Harris. Next, you have the Steelers at 24. Steelers, again, few different needs, cornerback, tackle, linebacker, but I think they would like to go for edge to try to replace Bud Dupree, who they lost. They go for somebody who has a high potential. I think Pittsburgh has had a history of bringing, the potential, making that a reality for players. So I think Jason Owa, a guy who has a lot of the talents but hasn't produced sacks-wise, is a good player for them. Next, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 25. Again, this is their second first-round pick. I think in this spot, this is right around where I could see them taking Rashad Bateman. There's a few different teams that could have taken him so far, but because of their need at wide receiver, and because, again, they want to give some more weapons to Trevor Lawrence, I could see them taking Bateman. I think he fits in with the system pretty well. Next, we have the Cleveland Browns at 26. Now, edge is a big need for them. They did just sign Jadeveon Clowney, so makes it less of a need for him, but is he the entire future? It's hard to say. Now, could they make a strength an even bigger strength? I think they can, and that would be getting Christian Barmore, the best interior defensive lineman in this draft. 27, we have the Baltimore Ravens, a team that also need an edge. At this point, I think they're going to have to reach a little bit to get this edge. So, do they go for Joe Tryon? I don't think it's a spot. I think they sit there where they are and they get their safety and replace Earl Thomas from a couple years ago. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints at 28. Again, wide needs on this team, but they do like their linebackers. They do need an edge player to replace players that they've lost. I think they sit and take the best linebacker available, which is Jason Owusu-Koramoah. Hopefully I said that correct. Next up is the Green Bay Packers at 29. Again, wide variety of needs. They passed on a wide receiver last year, and obviously we know what happened. Aaron Rodgers got a little upset. I think they realize they're running out of time. They need to make a move, and I think they get Elijah Moore, slot speed guy, to go with Devontae Adams. Next, at 30, we have the Buffalo Bills. They need help at the corners. I could see them taking Eric Stokes, but they also need help at edge, and I think Joe Tryon, I think he could sneak into the first round, and this is where I have him going. Next, at 31, we have the Chiefs. We know the Chiefs want weapons. They tried to get Smith-Schuster. They've tried to get other players, and they haven't been able to do that. I think, though, they're not going to go offense. They're going to go defense, and they're going to take one of the best defensive players available, which is Zaven Collins. At 32, we have the reigning Super Bowl champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Need help on the defensive line, obviously, because they're going to probably lose Pierre-Paul next year, and Sue might not resign. It's hard to say. They don't necessarily need a running back, which is kind of where the board is leading them right now, nor do they need a linebacker. So I think they're kind of in this weird state because the board hasn't really turned out for them what they think it would. But at this point, I think they'll likely go sneaking a player who people think could be a high-end talent. He just hasn't had a lot of tape, and that is Gregory Rousseau. So that's it. That is my first-round mock draft. I tried to keep it to 10 minutes. We went a little bit over there, but here is all the picks. If you want to scroll through, feel free to pause. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you appreciated this mock draft. I stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Football content, sports content in general. We're doing a lot of NFL draft coverage. If you like what you saw here, like, follow, subscribe, all the good stuff, and then go do the same over on Twitch. You can see my profile in the link below. Have a good night.